Today I want to talk about Charlie Brewer and his decision to go into the transfer portal, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kidfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. Look, it's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. I want to talk about Charlie Brewer. I want to talk about Charlie Brewer as it relates to him perhaps grad transferring to a number of places, but let's start with his decision to grad transfer. This is a really interesting year because Charlie Brewer has played every single year that he's been at Baylor. And in playing every single year that he's been at Baylor, he has basically been the starting quarterback at Baylor. That is until here recently, where we got to see some Jacob Zeno for the first time ever against Oklahoma State in a really bad game for Baylor. Jerry Bohannon has also been around, and we understand who that dude is and what he's possibly capable of. But Charlie Brewer is the talisman for which Matt Rule was able to help turn around Baylor's fortunes, going from bad to 7-6 to 11-3, losing the Big 12 championship game to Oklahoma after a heartbreaking loss in Waco, where OU, led by Jalen Hurts, comes back from 25 down. Also, shout out to Jalen Hurts, who looks like, well, he's making Taysom Hill look like a poor man's Jalen Hurts today. But I think that Charlie Brewer going into the portal is wild interesting. I think it's wild interesting for a number of reasons. I also think that it's wild interesting that there is no real backup plan for what the Baylor Bears have, except maybe you're looking at Kyron. Maybe that's who you got committed. Yikes. Dave Aranda, Larry Fedora, they're going to have to do a job here in a little bit. But let's start with this. I think that if Charlie Brewer wanted to play in the SEC, Kentucky needs a quarterback. Like, Terry Wilson has my whole heart, but he's not the guy that's going to help Kentucky get over the top. You're going to have a stout defense with Mark Stoops calling that defense, putting that defense together. You're probably going to have some playmakers because, after all, Lynn Bowden did come through there. So did Benny Snell. You'll have guys to help distribute the football to, and that's what Charlie Brewer does best. Like, he has the nation's high school record all time for completion percentage. And he's outstanding when you give him time to work, right? He just wasn't going to get that at Baylor this year, as they basically had to blow up everything that they were doing from last year with Dave Aranda coming in. I also think that Nebraska could use his help. Matter of fact, I read a headline about Nebraska football in which Adrian Martinez was being compared to Tanner Morgan, and the headline said Tanner Morgan has the skills as a passer that Adrian Martinez does not. And when they put Luke McCaffrey in there, that dude's much more capable as a runner than he is as a passer. But give him Scott Frost and Charlie Brewer, and you might have something to cook with at Nebraska, to say nothing of what it's like to recruit skill players at Nebraska. And recruiting skill players to play in the Big Ten out of Texas, really difficult. But you got to go into Texas if you're Nebraska to be good, right? I really believe that, because you're not going to get all the dudes from St. Louis. They're going to go to Oklahoma. They're going to go to Ohio State. They're going to go to even Illinois, Northwestern, or Missouri, right? There's other places for them to go. The last place that I think is really interesting is perhaps the University of Texas. The University of Texas, I'm assuming, is going to be without Sam Ehlinger next year. I don't think that he's going to use a fifth year of eligibility to come back and play in Tom Herman's offense. And I don't know that Tom Herman really wants that, especially after this close call for his job this year, in which, when push came to shove, Tom Herman reverted back to the power spread and reverted back to giving the ball to Sam Ehlinger. And the ceiling for Texas football the last 4 years has been Sam Ehlinger. When he has been outstanding, 2018 versus Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, they've been awesome. When he's been who he is, they turn out to be who he is. If you give Charlie Brewer and Mike Yurcich an opportunity to play with those toys that include Brendan Schooler and that may or may not include Tarek Black, that may or may not include, well, not may or may not, like, you're going to get dudes like Bijan Robinson, right? You got a Jordan Whittington. You got a Jake Smith. You're going to have dudes. Jatavion Sanders is staying committed there. He's the most dynamic athlete in Texas this side of Billy Bowman, and those dudes play on the same team, which is ridiculous. So you have options here. I think that Charlie Brewer also wanted to be at Texas. That's what gets lost in all this. Texas didn't offer him. Tom Herman didn't offer him. Maybe after seeing what Charlie Brewer has done the last 4 years, you take a look at Charlie Brewer and say, you know what, I could do with that guy. I understand how you must feel about Hudson Card. I have my own opinions about Casey Thompson. I think that he could be really great for them, and it's probably his best opportunity next year to lead that team at the quarterback position. But if you're looking for a pure passer to run Mike Yurcich's offense and not Tom Herman's offense, I don't know that you're going to be able to find a better ready-made dude to lead your team, a la Jalen Hurts transferring to Oklahoma in 2019. I don't think it's the same to compare him to Baker Mayfield because Baker Mayfield only played the year at Texas Tech and Baker was able to stay more than 1 year at Oklahoma. I think the comp has to be a De'Aaron King to Miami type of situation, right? Or one of those sorts of ways to look at it, or even taking a look and seeing what Talia Tagovailoa has been for Maryland, though he's going to pay more than 1 year. I just think that there's lots of room for growth for the University of Texas if they get themselves a nice, good quarterback. Not even just steady, but a dude that is accurate and will put the ball in position for those playmakers to go do what they do best, which is make outstanding plays week after week, year after year. That's what Texas football needs to be. I don't know that Tom Herman is going to be disciplined enough to keep his hands off the offense, though. That's another question I have. But I do think that if you're looking at Texas and you're looking at their roster, they're a quarterback away, which is what you could say about Texas Christian, Kentucky. Nebraska's got more than a quarterback to deal with, but you get my point here, right? I'm putting him in position to succeed or to help teams go to the next level. Another place that I might actually be interested in looking if I'm Charlie Brewer, and I'm not sure about the quarterback situation in South Carolina, do a little bit more research on that. But Shane Beamer has seen Charlie Brewer close up. And if he wanted a guy that he could mold right away, that could help him get something like competitive in that first year, kind of like Arkansas and Felipe Franks and Sam Pittman, I could look a whole lot deeper and not find a better candidate for that job than Charlie Brewer. So just me spitballing on this news. I'd been asked to talk about it by a few people via Twitter, via YouTube, as they saw that Charlie Brewer was going in the grad transfer portal and the rare opportunity to be a dude that plays 5 consecutive seasons without a red shirt. And that's not happened without an injury, right? And even then, that's a medical red shirt. So we're looking at the first time it's ever happened. I want Charlie Brewer to succeed. I enjoy watching him play football. Only thing I also worry about is his head. He's been concussed quite a bit. He's been knocked out of games. I don't know if he's going to get medically cleared by just about everybody to play, but I know this. Grant Calcaterra got obviously cleared by Auburn to go, and he thought he was going to be playing in Gus Malzahn's offense, and now that's a whole different ball of wax. Now we'll see who ends up with that job. And if it's Hugh Freeze, that could be a lot of fun because Grant Calcaterra might be moved out to wide receiver, and that would be so cool to watch. And I'm all for Grant Calcaterra having a great year. I'm also all for Charlie Brewer having a great year. All right, that is it for me. Doses.